Welcome to Nugg Talk.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nugg Talk, a weekly podcast where we talk about everything going on in the NBA, and more specifically, everything going on with your Denver Nuggets, good or bad. I am your host, Loki, here with my co-host, Phil. Phil, how you doing?
I really wanted to just let out an audible grunt when you said that, but otherwise I'm great.
It's good or bad. We have our ups and downs. It's a long season. We'll get into it. But we're back. We're here to talk. We didn't record yesterday because we were both pretty salty. So we decided to give us a day to collect our emotions and when we talk about the game. So that's why we are kind of late. Just wanted to let people know. But we'll get into NBA news like we always do. First thing I want to talk about is the Houston Rockets trying to protest their loss against the San Antonio Spurs. Background information for anyone who doesn't know. James Harden went for a dunk. He made the dunk, but it went through the net, came back up in a weird way where they thought he didn't make it. They ended up losing the game in double overtime, but the game wouldn't even have gone to overtime if that bucket counted. They protested against the NBA. NBA came out today and said, fuck you. I just think it's funny. What are your thoughts before we get into my thoughts on it?
It's just so funny because I feel like this happens at least once every season, and I feel like you should know by now that it doesn't matter. No one's going to change the outcome of the game. You can complain and whine all you want, but it's not going to change anything. I just think it's funny that they actually tried to get this changed when there was no chance of it happening.
Yeah, I think it's just funny because, like you said, there's no chance of it happening. They're never going to make a change like that because if they did, then every team after every single game would request them to review the game and change the ruling of the game. So, of course, they were going to say no. There was no question about that. My thing that's funny is they really complain about those 2 points leading to their loss. You know what led to their loss is that they blew a 20-point lead.
Yep.
But yet they complained about these 2 points. Don't blow the 20-point lead to the San Antonio Spurs, and then you don't have to deal with this. Yeah, so that's why I think it's really funny.
I just think it's funny it's happening. It happened to the Rockets. It just feels like a Rockets thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just so random that they would try to refute that. Like, you can't do that. It's the same thing kind of like LeBron said with, some of the coaches' challenges in the game one time. He said, I think it was against the Pelicans. He said, they're not going to change that. They're never going to admit they're wrong. It's the same thing with the NBA. They're not going to change this ruling. They can't admit that they're really wrong because then it looks bad on them, and also they would have to do it every single time.
Yeah,
so
they can't make a precedent like that.
I just thought it was funny that they even tried. They tried really, really hard to get this overruled, but it didn't. So the Houston Rockets got a confirmed L on their record. I just thought it was funny. But the actual big news of this week, at least bigger news of this week, is Kevin Love became available for trade discussions. The Cavs finally decided they're going full rebuild, I assume, which I would assume also means that at some point Tristan Thompson will become available, which could be interesting for us specifically, but that has not been confirmed yet. But I would just say not expert opinion, but after watching so many years of basketball, I would assume that Tristan Thompson would also become available at some point. But for right now, Kevin Love is available. Our name has popped up. Other names have popped up. He said he wants to be a part of a contender. What are your thoughts on it? Would you want Kevin Love? Where do you think he goes if you don't want him?
I would take Kevin Love. I question his fit. I don't because he's gonna want to start. Does that mean we trade Paul? Yeah. What do we do with that whole situation? So yeah, I'm not sure if it would make the most sense for us to get him. It would be cool if we could make it work because he's a really talented player, but also at the same time defense.
Yeah.
I could see him going to somewhere like. I don't know, actually. I'm trying to think. I didn't really think about
My
this.
thoughts is this.
Yeah.
I think he'll go to Portland if he's going to go anywhere. They have a lot of trade value, assets. They're also very injured this year, and they're struggling right now to win games. After Melo's kind of resurgence for 1 week against bad teams, they've kind of hit they went back to earth. They lost 2 in a row. Yeah. So
I'm going to say Miami would be interesting.
Miami's also an option. Miami wants to trade for everyone. They're in every trade rumor ever. So
yeah, that's true.
Pat Riley wants literally anybody else who can join Jimmy Butler, even though that team keeps winning, but he wants to trade some people to get more star power, which is fair, I guess. On the question of if I want him on my team, because we have come up in trade talks, and we've come up for trade talks a lot with Kevin Love, I would say no, because Paul's been so good this year.
Exactly.
Paul was bad, I would have said yes, but Paul's been so good this year. He's probably been our best player this year. Actually, no, I'm going to say, yeah, he's been our best player this year. Defensively and offensively, I would say Paul's been our best since he is consistent at shooting threes where no one else is, which we'll get into.
He's been our most consistent player.
But, yeah, so I just don't think that Kevin Love really makes a lot of sense for us. Also, I heard that if we did get involved in this trade, MPJ would be a part of it. I do not want to trade MPJ so soon. We haven't really even seen what he can do. But I don't think we should do that. If it involved like Juancho and like Malik, maybe. But even then, yeah, the fit just doesn't make a lot of sense. Granted, Kevin Love will be on contract longer. He's younger, but he plays terrible defense. He only played one good defensive possession ever in his life, and that was against Steph Curry in the finals. So that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be a good fit, but we'll see how it goes. I think he goes to Portland. So
it'll be interesting. I would actually like it if he went to Portland just because, I mean, I think that makes him a better team, but I don't think it really moves the needle very much as far as the hierarchy.
No, I think at this point they just care about making the playoffs. I don't think they're considering themselves as contenders anymore. So, but then the next thing that we want to talk about before we get into one team that's been doing good, one team that's been doing bad, is we're going to talk about Bol Bol. One bright spot of this Nuggets week, he's been having an excellent G League performances these past couple of weeks. I think his last game he had like 20 points, 5 blocks or something like that.
Yeah, he had like 8 rebounds and 5 blocks.
So he's been doing really good. He's consistently gained at least 10 points on very efficient shooting. He looks like
he can kind of shoot threes.
Yeah, like
we'll get into that.
Kind of shoot threes. He's at least an offensive threat. He looks defensively like he's not completely lost. Again, this is G League, but I think it's just cool to see that he's been doing so well. What are your thoughts on him in G League so far?
I will have more thoughts later on, but I'm loving what I'm seeing. I think he's showing his talent, and I think he's showing that he could, emphasis on could, be the steal of the draft. Yeah, I'm glad that he's healthy. He doesn't seem like he's really on any minute restriction either. So
at least not so far. I think he plays at least 15 to 20-ish minutes.
That's pretty good.
So pretty good. Still, so kind of maybe a small minute restriction, but not like a huge one. My thing is we have one guaranteed contract spot left that we still haven't filled on our team. I think it's about time we give him that guaranteed contract spot, because I think he's shown that he deserves it.
He deserves to be on the roster.
He doesn't need to be a two-way player anymore. Granted, I would still like him interchanging in between G League and coming with the team and traveling with the team. But
why is that?
I still think he's got things to learn and just get used to it.
Yeah, but I was being kind of snarky and saying because he won't get minutes.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. He's not going to get minutes because we'll get into it. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, I'd rather he still travel back and forth and get some play at least. I think everyone should get some play. But otherwise, he's been doing pretty good. I'm excited. I wasn't huge on the pick when we got him, but he looks like he's better defensively than I thought. Again, G League, so we'll take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But and offensively, he looks as good as promised. So again, with grain of salt, it's G League. But yeah, I mean, that was the one bright spot. So we'll get into all the low points later. But first, before we do that, we're gonna do one team we thought did really good lately, one team that's been doing pretty bad lately. We'll start off with the bad. Who's the team that you think's doing pretty bad as of late?
For me, it is the Phoenix Suns again. I just really don't like the Phoenix Suns. I don't like Devin Booker, and like I saw an article on Bleacher Report today that
putting up numbers isn't.
Devin Booker realized putting up numbers doesn't win, and now he is the key piece to turning things around in Phoenix. You're 10-12. You're won 3 of your last 10 games. Chill out.
Yeah, I didn't even read that article.
They're what?
I didn't even read that article.
I saw the headline and I was just rolled my eyes. Yeah, they're not going to make the playoffs. I don't think. You expect Portland to probably make the playoffs. There's a lot of teams underneath them in the standings who I think are better than the Phoenix Suns. And yeah.
I mean, they are better than they used to be in the past.
They're not like this a cellar dweller.
Yeah, like they're actually at least a team that's competing now. But yeah, I mean they're nowhere near what that article probably made it sound like they are. But yeah, I mean they've been playing bad as of late. My team that's been playing bad as of late is the Timberwolves. I think they lost 4 in a row. They keep losing. Karl Anthony Towns. They got freaking bodied by the Lakers. I mean, it was pretty bad. They've been playing pretty bad as of late. Karl Anthony Towns, I assume, is still putting up numbers as he does, but I just think overall that team is having a lack of talent, especially still at the point guard position that they still have not solved, and I don't know when they will solve. It looks like it's going. Again, I think in the future they are going to steal Monte Morris from us for a lot of fucking money, which is really annoying. But at the time right now, they don't have a point guard, and that's really hurting them because their offense just looks bad.
Yeah, it's give it to Cat and give it to Wiggins. And that's it.
They don't really have much going on there. So that's my team that's been doing bad as of late. Who's your team that's been doing good?
I'm going to say the Miami Heat. They've just been killing it. I thought eventually that maybe things would normalize and they would kind of drop to like 5 or 6, but they're number 3 and they're a half a game back from
The second seed?
Well, actually, technically they're tied with Boston. They just have a worse winning percentage.
Oh, damn.
They're both 3 games back of the Bucks, and so I think that they're like right in there in the mix. Obviously, I think we know who's coming out of the East this year.
It's gonna be the Bucks.
Yeah, but I think they're going to be one of the teams. I think whoever gets to play the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals, I think that's going to be like a battle.
Yeah,
and Miami is going to be right in the thick of it.
Yeah, I think Miami did pretty good by getting Tyler Hero, and Kendrick Nunn. Kendrick Nunn being a steal of the non-draft since he's undrafted, but he's been really good. Hero popped off last night or like 2 nights ago and hit like 8 clutch shots in a row in crunch time. Jimmy Butler has been clutch for them, like went on a 8-0 run in overtime against the Raptors. That team's pretty fucking good, so I'm not like super shocked by them doing as well, but I didn't think they'd be this high up in the Eastern standings. But yeah, no, they've been doing good. My team that's been doing pretty good, also in the Eastern Conference, also in Florida, I will say is Orlando Magic. I think they've also won 4 in a row, or at least like 3 in a row as of late. So they've been, I think, figuring out a little bit more, figuring out what Jonathan Isaac can do with his kind of new development as of late. Also with Aaron Gordon, he's still doing pretty good, even though he's in trade rumors. And it's a rumor that they might get like DeRozan or something like that at some point. So I think this team's on the upward trend. They're starting to figure it out a little bit too. So, but again, it's the Eastern Conference, so it doesn't mean as much. But
yeah, exactly.
Good for them at least. You know, it's good to win games because not everyone does this past week.
Not everyone does.
And speaking of that, we will get into a very, I assume, rant-filled section of our week in review.
You better believe it.
Of the Nuggets. We will go game by game. We went 1-3 this week. We only beat the measly Knicks. At least we destroyed the measly Knicks, but we did only beat the Knicks. We ended up losing to the Lakers, Celtics, and Nets. We are 4-5 in our last 5 games. It's going kind of bad as of late for your Denver Nuggets. We'll start off with the first game against the Lakers. Do you have the stats pulled up? Mm-hmm. What was the score of that one? I don't even remember. We at least battled in that one.
We battled, we competed, but we were trailing the entire game. It was final score 105-96.
Okay, so 105-96, not too bad. We did battle in that one. We had chances to win in the fourth quarter. We just made poor decisions. Is where you kind of saw the experience take over and talent take over.
And Will Barton had a terrible game, one of his probably his worst game of the season.
Yes, he did have a bad game. He didn't make a single 3, but he took like 6 or something, right?
He made 1, but he went 1 for 8.
Well, so. There you go. That was pretty bad. MVP for that game was definitely not Jokic because he also had a very bad game. I don't know. MVP.
It was Paul. It was either Paul or Jamal. Paul went 21 points, 8 for 14 shooting. Jamal went 22, 8 for 17.
I'll give it to Paul.
Me too.
I think Paul deserves it. Again, it sucks to give MVPs in losing games, but we have to at least give credit to people who do good. And Paul did pretty well in that game. He at least, they tried to stop like LeBron and AD, but LeBron and AD played the same exact minutes, had the same exact stat line for the most part, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, they really kind of dominated us. They showed how there's still a lot of room for growing on this team.
Yes, and one of the things that we need to figure out right away this is where I'm going to get into my little rant, is we really suck on the pick and roll with a center who can catch a lob.
Yeah, we do.
We need to stop letting centers just get past Nikola Jokic and get a lob alley-oop dunk.
Clearly,
it happens way too much.
Clearly, that's like the worst part of Jokic's game, and we really need to help him out with
Like
that.
something needs to happen. Either the guy on the side, on the weak side, has to come over and just not let that guy jump. I don't even care if that weak side guy shoots a three. Seeing just an alley-oop dunk happen all the time is the worst thing in the world.
To be honest with you, like obviously this isn't ideal, but I would rather see Danny Green shoot a three than Anthony Davis get a dunk.
Or Dwight Howard get a dunk. It happened way too much in that game. That was like basically their go-to game plan was try to get a switch of Jamal and Jokic, and for the most part, you're usually going to score on that with an alley-oop or something. It was pretty bad. It happened way too much. But again, they are the best team in the West. We did fight. We tried our best. And those Skyline jerseys looked very fuego. But
They are really, really good jerseys.
They're
Really
good
good.
jerseys. But overall, the game kind of, I wasn't mad, and I wouldn't even say disappointed. I was just kind of humbled, I guess, because I thought we were a lot better than we were, and then we played them, and then I realized, wow, we got a long ways to go.
Yeah.
And this whole week kind of humbled me. But what were your feelings after that Laker game? Because we assumed we were going to lose
I was
that.
thinking, like, yeah, I think we're going to lose. We competed against them, and I was also thinking, like, hey, Jokic is still not, because at that point, Jokic was really slumping.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, Jokic still hasn't really played well yet. Hopefully, like, maybe this will wake him up, and if he plays well, then maybe there could be a different result sort of thing. Yeah.
And then in that game, our bench played poorly. Did they play poorly?
Yeah, we're going to say they played poorly because, no one scored more than 6 points on the bench.
Okay, so they did play poorly
Malik
in that
played
game.
terribly, and then the rest took 4 or 5 shots. It
Okay.
was mainly the starters, and the starters didn't play great. So, yeah.
Overall, still not the most terrible game we played this week, which is insane to say.
Yeah.
And now we get into the one. Did you have something else to add to that?
My rant is kind of an overall thing, so let's get through the games first.
Get through the games, and then we'll go through all of it. Next game, the only good game of the week, the game everyone knew we were going to win, even we knew we were going to win, against the Knicks. We started off kind of slow, and then we just fucking demolished them. I have something to get into this one, but we'll go over the stats first. What was the score of this one?
129-92.
Yeah, we fucked them up. We were up like almost 40, I think, at some point. I think the MVP of that game was, I'm trying to think of who I want to say. I think Jokic didn't play well in that one. Jokic he didn't have good stats, but when I was watching, he at least played with effort in that game.
He played well, and he had 6, 10, and 8, so that's kind of like a Jokic type stat line if he can score. Like, I like seeing those 8 assists. Here, I'll give you some stats of who I think could be MVP. I'm not going to give it to Plumlee. Will Barton, 17 points, 6 of 9 shooting. Jeremy Grant, 6 of 9 shooting, 16 points. Monte Morris, 6 of 9 shooting, 15 points. And then Malik also played well in this game, too.
I'm going to give it to Jeremy, because Jeremy did really good in that game, and he also brought a lot of effort off the bench, so I'll give it to him.
I'm going to give it to Will because he just didn't miss. He was 4 for 4 from 3. I like to see that. We need more of that, so I'm going to give positive vibes to any good three-point shooting.
Yeah, so, I mean, he did pretty good. Overall, this game, it's pretty easy. The Knicks are terrible. There's not much to say. I will get into a little bit of a rant here. We were up by like 40, 30 points in the fourth quarter, and for some reason, it took us till like the last 5 minutes of the game to play MPJ. I don't get why we're not playing MPJ. It doesn't make any sense to me. I get it in games that are like big games that you don't think we could win with him because he might be too young, like the Lakers.
That's interesting.
Or the Celtics. But why the fuck did we not play him against the Knicks when we're up 40?
Yeah, we'll get into that.
I'm getting into it now because it's bullshit. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
You could get into it in your rant, but I'm getting into it now because I don't like it. He needs to play.
All I'm gonna say is this will be something that pours on later. All I'm going to say is that Juancho Hernangomez is averaging 15 minutes a game, and he's having worse stats than he did last year, and he's still getting minutes over MPJ. That's all I'm going to say for now. We'll get into it later.
Juancho the effort has kind of gone away. He does hit a three every now and then, but still, MPJ should be getting more minutes, especially in blowout losses, especially against teams that suck, or even if we're getting blown out again, which happened in the next game, kind of. So, like, he needs to come in sooner. Anytime he comes in, he gets so many stats in such a short amount of time. It's amazing. Granted, I know he's not great defensively, but if you're up 40, who cares? All I'm saying is Malone's got to play him more.
Juancho isn't that much better defensively.
I know, but we just got to.
Just saying.
I'm just saying Malone needs to play him more. Malone needs to just find him minutes. They keep talking about it. He keeps saying, everyone keeps saying Michael Porter Jr. is going to be really good. He just got to wait for his moment. But how long do we have to wait for his moment? I'm kind of running out of patience at this point.
Okay, I'm just gonna start. Well, actually, no. Sorry. If I start, I'm not gonna finish. So let's finish.
We'll wait till the end for Phillips.
I just have so much to say.
We'll go to the next game, which is the Boston game. We lost that game really badly. I did not think we were gonna lose that game. They are undefeated at home, so it was a tough game going in. But we got pretty much trounced. We were in it for a bit. There was even a point in the third quarter I was like, oh, we're only down 10, and then they went up 20 in like 2 minutes. It was kind of insane. We lost that game. What was the score for that one?
108-95.
Yeah, we lost that game pretty freaking badly. Highlight, though, an easy MVP for this game. Nikola Jokic finally fucking showed up for a basketball game and scored.
Played very, very well in this game.
It took forever for Nikola and Jokic to show up, but he did. Thank fucking God. He had 30 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists.
10 rebounds, 4 assists.
Okay.
But he shot super well, 13 for 21. It's really good. Yeah, he had finally, that was his best game of the season.
It was his best game of the season, the season high. He played great. I'm very proud of him. He came out. He looked like he wanted to score first, which was great. Even Malone said he would look to score first and score second, which is like, okay, what? But he came out ready to play. The problem is nobody else did.
Nobody played well besides Jokic in this game, which is why we lost.
We made, I think, only 2 threes that whole game.
Let me double check.
And I think we shot like 24.
Oh, crap, I lost it. 1 sec.
But I know we shot very poorly from 3. No one was hitting from 3.
We've been shooting poorly from 3 all week and all season.
The weird thing is our inconsistency with 3, because they kind of showed this on the game last night.
5 for 30 from 3.
That's terrible. But they kind of showed this on the game last night. This past 8 games, it's been double digits in threes, single digits in threes, double digits in threes, single digits in threes, double digits, single digits. Keeps going like that.
That's weird.
There's no consistency. There's one game we're on, one game we're off. Because the Knicks game, we were hitting every single 3. We hit a ton of threes in that game, but we hit none in this game. It was just really frustrating to watch. Tatum fucked up Juancho. Tatum just fucked us up.
Tatum was really, really good in this game. He was really good.
We just got fucked up by him. It was really bad.
Although, in my opinion, Jokic was the best player on the court in that game. It doesn't matter if no one else showed up. So.
Yeah, he was the best player in the court, but it's just kind of unfortunate that what happened. Again, it's a good team. I was just kind of this one. I was disappointed because I didn't think we lose that badly. Like if we lost, I was like,
yeah. I was hoping for like a bounce back, like because like the Knicks. Come on. Like I was hoping like a bounce back against a good team, and we didn't show up.
Yeah, like this one you can't be too upset with because again they are undefeated at home. They're a pretty good team. They're second in the East, but like the way we lost just was really disappointing because this is the first time Jokic has ever had a really good game, and no one else showed up to help him out because he should have had more than 4 assists. If anyone just makes 5 more threes, he has probably at least 9 assists, and we probably are close to winning that game. I wouldn't say we win that game, but we'd be close.
We would be close for sure.
But that was a terrible game. Yeah, that was really bad. And then the last game, the game that made me really salty, made Phil really salty, and Phil's going to get into his big rant soon, so get excited for that. We'll get into it. We lost to the Nets really poorly, really badly. This was up there with one of the worst losses in the season, in my opinion, because it was just a layup like clinic by the Nets.
We got outscored like by 40 points.
In the paint. They could get to the lane anytime they wanted to. There was no resistance for them getting any layups. It was a terrible game. Really frustrating to watch if you're a Nuggets fan. What was the score of it? I think we only lost by 3,
We
right?
lost 3, 105 to 102.
Yeah, so we only lost by 3. Our MVP for that one, I would say, would probably be Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy played really, really well. Jokic had a good game, but Jeremy made 5 threes.
Yeah, Jeremy kept us in that game in the fourth quarter because he was the only one hitting threes in that fourth quarter. Monte hit a couple big threes in that fourth quarter too. But
I mean, honestly, Jamal and Jokic played well, but yeah,
I'll give it to Jeremy because he kept us in that game. He's been pretty good for most of the season, I would say.
One thing that was a little bit concerning to me is that Spencer Dinwiddie kind of torched Gary in this game.
He did torch Gary, and I don't know why that happened, but everyone was getting torched this game too. It just doesn't make sense to me because they're one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league.
They shot horribly from 3 in this game.
And yet we kept playing them tight. And I don't know why. Like, I get Dinwiddie because he can make a 3 every now and then. But literally anyone else, like Torian Prince or anything like that, like, why are we guarding them so tight on the three-point line? They can't shoot threes. It made no sense. The defensive game plan, I don't know if it was the coach or the players just didn't execute it. Maybe a mixture of both. But it was really, really, really bad. After all of this, we have now gone from the 2nd seed in the West to the 5th seed. We really just kind of blew that lead that we had in the standings. So now we're going to have to fight our way back up there against the Clippers, Mavericks, and Rockets because now they're all ahead of us. It was really unfortunate. Terrible game, in my opinion. You can now get into your rant.
Okay. I'm going to try and keep it as brief as possible, but I have some major issues with this team. And I mentioned something briefly about Juancho getting a lot of minutes and not really performing in those minutes. I'm not going to bag Juancho for this. I'm going to bag Michael Malone because Michael Malone is one of these – he strikes me as one of these like old-fashioned coaches who doesn't want to change things up and he really stays the course. He has his 5 guys. He picks those 5 guys and then he plays them for 10 games straight. And then maybe, just maybe, he'll switch it up. That's what he did with Juancho, and it worked for a while. Now it's not working because Juancho can't make threes. He's shooting, I just checked, I think he's shooting a career worst percentage from 3. And he's getting enough minutes to where that's significant. And so I have a real issue with that. And back to our MPJ thing, he gets stats. Juancho doesn't make threes. He's kind of useless. I'm sorry, but he is. He puts in effort, but so does MPJ. It's time to give MPJ Juancho's minutes. I have no doubt in my mind that that's what we should be doing. Malone needs to stop doing this veteran love thing that he does. Like, Juancho's been here longer, so I'm going to give him the opportunity first, even though he's playing like shit. He had a good game against the Knicks, but he really didn't. He shot 4 for 12, and those 4 shots were threes, so fine. But against good teams, he's been disappeared, and he's terrible at defense. So is MPJ probably, but at least MPJ can develop. I think we kind of know what Juancho is going to be in this league, a spot-up shooter, and MPJ can be way more than that. Mm-hmm. That's my first rant. What do you have to say from that one?
For that one, the only thing that I've seen that's kind of, because I will play devil's advocate when you go into rants. The only thing that I've seen that kind of makes sense, and I got it from our Reddit, but someone made a point that kind of makes sense, is maybe they're doing this to build up Malik and Juancho's trade value.
I thought that occurred to me too. Yeah,
that is a possibility of why they're not playing MPJ so much, is because maybe they want to build up one of their trade values for whoever we're not going to extend. Because again, like I said before, we can only really extend one of them if we extend any of them. Right now, I
feel like we wouldn't extend. I don't think Juancho deserves to be extended, and I don't think we're going to pay Malik what he's going to get in the open market.
Yes, I think we would still restrict Malik, so we keep Malik for the most part, but I think that we would lose Juancho. So I think that is part of it. But like I said before, I do think we should get MPJ more minutes. Again, doesn't have to be in big games against like the Lakers or the Celtics, but I want him to get minutes against the Nets or the Knicks or anyone else we play later this week that's bad, like OKC.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with you there. Gizmo. I'm gonna disagree with you there. I think MPJ needs to be getting minutes against teams like the Lakers and the Clippers. What do you think? Juancho's gonna play better than MPJ would in those games? No. I'm not saying play him 20 minutes a game. I'm just saying give him 10 minutes a game. Give him Juancho's minutes. I just think it's way past time that he gets a chance to start playing consistently on a playoff team. He's good enough to do that. He's shown me that. I just don't really understand the point of playing Juancho. He's young still, but he's never going to be anything special.
True. Well, that's the point where we'll disagree, but I will say for the big games like the Lakers and the Celtics and things like that, where I got upset with when they played Juancho over someone is I got upset that they play Juancho over Torrey Craig. Torrey Craig is probably our second best defender on the wing, and we're not playing him. I get it. He can't score as much. But like you said, neither can Juancho. At least let's have a defender out there.
Sounds so mean, but I would rather see Torrey or MPJ over Juancho right now.
I think it's fine because Juancho has not been great as of late. He
regressed.
does effort, but he's just not fully there, I feel like, yet body-wise.
Exactly. And, I'm not sure if he ever really will be. We'll see about that. I don't know. I love Juancho. He's awesome. I think he's hilarious.
He'll probably go to the Magic at one point. They steal all of our foreign players.
That's true.
They got Fournier from us. It'll be the same thing. But, no, I agree with you on that point. I do think that we need to start giving other guys more minutes. Big games, I think, give Torrey minutes. Lesser games, I think MPJ should get more minutes. But then again, maybe they are doing the thing to build up their trade value. But with the way Juancho's playing, you're not really building up that trade value very much.
You're hurting his trade value. Malik, his trade value has now gone up because he's playing a little better now that he's gotten back into the rotation. And I want Malik to stay in the rotation. I think he is still a developing player, and I think he can be a solid player. And I would like Malik back still, even though it might be difficult. We'll see.
Yeah. Do you want to get into your next one?
Are you ready?
Yeah, this is the Plumlee 3?
Yes, it's the Plumlee one. Mason Plumlee in the game yesterday shot a three-pointer with 13 seconds on the shot clock.
He also shot one, I think, against the Knicks.
Exactly. And the Knicks, sure, you're blowing them out. Go for it. But in a close game, what the hell? He also took three other jump shots.
They were floater that he airballed.
And he airballed a floater, which is supposed to be something that a center is pretty decent at usually. If Plumlee isn't dunking, he is offensively just terrible, and he is such an overrated defender. He's a pretty good passer, I'll give him that. But people say Plumlee's defense helps. No, it doesn't.
I'm just not very much on the Plumlee train. I never have been on the Plumlee train.
Me either, frankly. He was playing really well at the beginning of the season.
He was, but then again, he was also playing pretty well last season. We saw this in the playoffs already, and I think other teams are kind of trying to figure it out, is that it's very easy to take advantage of us, not only on the offensive end, but also kind of on the defensive end when Mason Plumlee comes in. One, because offensively, Mason Plumlee can't do anything but dunk, like you said. And then for the defensive end, it's mainly because he commits way too much to the pick and roll guy. He commits way too much to the guy who's using the pick, who has the ball in his hands. And then that opens up the roller, and it's just trouble all the time. I think he's terrible. If he ever shoots a fucking three again, I'm going to just lose my shit.
He has the most broken jump shot in the NBA, and he's getting paid $13 million a year. And now here's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to go as crazy to say that, well, I think we should trade him and hopefully trade him for a good backup center. But if that doesn't happen, I'm not even going to say that we should take away all of his minutes. But you need to cut, what is he? He probably averages nearly 20 minutes a game, right?
He's probably 18, 16.
Take 5 minutes away and give him to fucking Bull.
I mean, if they bring him back up.
Exactly. But they should bring him back up. And let me ask you a question, Kian. Who's coming out of the West this year?
Lakers.
Exactly. Do the Nuggets have a shot to come out of the West this year?
Maybe.
They don't. I'm sorry, but they don't.
Let's give it a hope.
Let's develop our guys. If they go off in the playoffs and beat the Lakers, and I end up being wrong about what I just said, I'll go to a fucking Broncos game and streak. I will do anything.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
You should, because if we make the finals, I'll do it.
You will be banned from Bronco games forever.
That's fine. I love Drew Lock, but still. That's my thing. Is then why not? We're a young team. Why not we we think a little bit about the future? Like, we can still try and compete. It's not like we're gonna we still have a really good team, but why don't you take the negative of this team and see our young, really, really talented prospects have, like MPJ and Bol specifically?
Yes. No, I mean, I agree with that. I just think, again, on the Plumlee thing, I would really like to trade him because he's making way too much money. If we can't trade him, if we can trade him, I do really hope that Tristan Thompson becomes available.
I would love Tristan Thompson.
I am really, really praying for that. I think Tristan Thompson would be an excellent fit on this team. He basically does everything Plumlee can do, but I know for a fact he's actually good defensively when he wants to be. I will add that caveat to it. When he wants to be, he can actually be a very good defender. Also, he can actually shoot a little bit better than Mason Plumlee. Not great, but he can. He's made some threes this year.
Yeah,
so.
like, he's not a good shooter, but at least he's not like you have the ball, okay, I'm going to stand 5 feet away from you.
Yes. The only thing that Plumlee is better than Tristan Thompson at is he can pass better than Tristan Thompson. But Tristan Thompson's not incompetent. He knows how to make a pass.
And that's the thing, is I think a lot of the reason why Plumlee gets so much praise is because the offense still kind of works when Jokic is out because Plumlee can pass. Yeah, but also Plumlee can't space the floor at all.
Yeah, it's just bad. I don't like Plumlee. I've never been a Plumlee fan. I liked him last year because he actually did play pretty well last year, but he's definitely regressed this year, and I think that comes more with his basketball IQ because there are times where he dribbles up the court and he just passes to fucking no one or he loses it.
And he really tries to be Jokic sometimes with the behind the back passes and the dribbles and shit. And it's just like, dude, you're not. That's not who you are.
Yes.
And you got to stop with it. And I'm gonna finish off with one quick thing, and then we can get back to this sort of conversation, kind of related. That's my thing, is I think you should take some Plumlee minutes to get him to Bol, but that requires playing more than 10 guys each night. Yeah. And that falls on Michael Malone. We are not even, this might be wrong. Are we even 30 games into the season yet?
No, I think we're about near 21-ish.
Yeah, we're not even.
We're at 20, I think.
Okay.
Because we're 13-7.
Yeah, so we're not even. We're 14-7 actually.
14,
so we're on 20. We're not even 30 games into the season yet, and we're going 10 guys deep. Why? What's the point of that?
Yeah, we're a quarter way through the season, and a quarter way through, I am not very pleased because, one, again, I do not feel like we played our best basketball at all this season. I think only one time ever this year we were even close to playing our best basketball. I think that was against the Heat. Other than that, I don't think we've ever been close. Another thing is, I do feel like the rotations do not specifically work because we did give Michael Malone praise for, at one point, he was actually using starters and a mixture of the bench. He's gone back to his 5 starters, 5 bench players rotations, which don't work. And it seems like every time it's the 5 bench players, it goes poorly. And he's like, Will Barton, get in there. It's like, how about Will Barton just goes in with them right away or stays with them for a little bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a lot of sense. Another thing is Jamal's still very inconsistent, mainly from 3. I have always talked about Jamal's inconsistencies. I have a lot of issues with Jamal sometimes. This is becoming a big issue at this point because he's not making threes. I don't know what's going on. Like, he made threes in the Nets game, but other than that, he was on a pretty big slump where he was not hitting any 3-pointers. He's got to figure that out.
It's unfortunate because
same thing with Gary. Gary's got to figure it out.
That's the thing is nobody's hitting threes.
Yes, it's really bad.
Not even Juancho, Malik, not really either.
Sometimes, for the most part, it's just really Barton and Millsap. I keep saying Plumlee.
Sometimes Jeremy.
Millsap. Sometimes Jeremy.
Recently, Jeremy actually.
Jeremy's gone better as of late. Jokic just got to figure it out too. Jokic has gotten really bad from 3 this year.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. He was one of the best, but. I mean, again, quarter way through, not the best. We're a 5th seed, could be worse, but there's definitely a lot of things to improve. I think if it continues to go down a downward spiral, we have to look into making big changes. Not like a coaching change, but like player changes, personnel, looking into things like that. Because we are still one of the best defenses in the league. I think we're 2nd now. We still might be 1st. I don't even know. But we're still up there. Our main issue, though, is the offense, which is something I want to get into. I blame this partially on the players as well. No one's moving. There's
Yeah.
nobody moving. And every time you watch a Nuggets game, or at least last year you used to watch it, it was beautiful. Like people were moving. It was really fun. It was fast. It was quick. People were shooting threes. They were getting dunks. Classic Nuggets offensive basketball that you've always seen. However many years you've been a Nuggets fan for the most part, just with a little twist, Serbian twist for the most part. But now it's just pass it to Jokic, no one move. He'll get double teamed. He'll pass it out. That guy shoots a three. Or Jokic and Jamal pick and roll, but no one move other than those two. Or Gary pick and roll, drives to the paint, either does a floater or just passes it back to Jokic. Like there's not much offensive going on. Sometimes you'll see like a nice play here and there, but for the most part the offense is very stagnant. We're very slow. Our pace is still very slow. We got to pick it up. And it comes, I think, semi on the players. I think a lot of the issue is we're not bringing up the ball quick enough. I think the only person who is Monte Morris. Other than that, I don't think Jamal really is. I don't think Jokic is, and I don't think Will Barn is. And then also, we're just dribbling too much. We got to start moving by passing, and I don't think we're doing that enough.
Yeah, and that's something that's weird is that we are like one of the slowest teams pace-wise, and a Denver Nuggets team should never be a slow-paced team. And that's one thing, though, we should also think about is that, like, that's so easily fixed. So hopefully eventually they will fix that, and then maybe things will turn around. There's a lot of room for improvement, obviously, and it's all very fixable, I guess.
Yes, like they got to work on these things, and they can fix these things, which is a nice thing. And again, the only bright spot is that we've never had a full game where Jokic has played well and others have played well around him. I don't think that's ever really happened, again, except for the Miami game for the most part. So there are things to look forward to in the season. But as of right now, we have lost 4 of the last 5, so we definitely got to start rebounding on this next week of games, which I don't know. What's our next week of games? I think we play Portland, we play OKC.
We play the Sixers tomorrow.
We play the Sixers tomorrow.
So we got Philly on tomorrow. Then we got Portland on Thursday, OKC on Saturday, and then New York Knicks on Sunday.
Okay. Which ones are home? Well,
Philly,
away game is Philly's away.
Philly's away. The rest are at home.
Okay. So we'll start with Philly. I think we're going to lose that.
I do too.
Unfortunately, we're going to lose that.
Unless we really turn it around like right now, frankly, because the game's tomorrow, we're going to lose that game. The way we played the last 5 games, we're not winning that game.
And they also have not lost at home. It's another team that has one of the best home courts right now. They haven't lost at home. It's the first time I think they've done that since Allen Iverson played there. They've been playing pretty well. Again, I do expect Jokic to beat Embiid, at least in like their category, because usually Jokic does. But I just think if we play like we've been playing lately, the rest of the team's not going to show up, and it's probably going to be an issue. So that's what I expect it to be. But again, we always know, classic matchup, Embiid and Jokic. And then the next game is Portland.
Yes.
So that's Portland at home. Portland has also been playing pretty bad as of late, but again, they always show up for this game because they fucking hate us, and we don't like them either. Another return for Carmelo. Actually, interesting fact on Carmelo. Last night he played OKC. Later this week he plays the Knicks, and then he plays us. He's going back to all the teams he at least spent a year with this week. So I think that's just kind of funny. But it's Melo's return since he basically like pre-retired or was forced to retire. I think we should win this. I think that we should win this mightily.
If we lose this game, that's one. If we lose tomorrow, assuming we lose tomorrow, that's a 4-game losing streak if we lose this game against a team that's frankly not that good. They're good. They have really good players on that team, but this shouldn't be a team that we struggle with at home, especially.
I think we should win this. I think we should win it fairly well. Obviously, I'm going to say key matchup is, because it's always kind of the key matchup, is Gary versus Damian Lillard. Gary, for the most part, usually shuts down Damian Lillard. So if he does that again, I assume we win this. Obviously, C.J. McCollum could change that, but I think we should win this. And also we should, not say be afraid of Melo, but I do know that knowing Melo, he probably wants to show out for this game since it was where he started his career and things like that. So, and he's going to get booed heavily. Like, I don't think Nuggets fans really forget, and Nuggets fans, I don't think, will appreciate him. If they do, I'll be shocked, because knowing me, I would have booed if I'm at this game. But, I mean, I'm just saying, I think, who knows, maybe some people cheer him. But, yeah, I think we should win this.
Yeah, I do too. I'll say we win this too.
Next game is OKC.
OKC.
That one we should win too.
Yeah,
They're not
we
that good
should
of a
win.
team.
Unless Chris Paul goes off, we have no business losing this game.
We have no business losing that game. I would say key matchups probably Jamal and CP3. I think we should win this pretty easily. Granted, Steven Adams does usually fuck us up, but again, that was with Russell Westbrook, so I don't know if it will still be the same with Chris Paul. It may be even better with Chris Paul for him, but I don't think Steven Adams is having that good of a scoring year this year. So I think we should win this pretty easily. I would say this be a blowout. I don't think the Portland game will be a blowout, but I think this game will be a blowout. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we should win this game by at least 10. I'll say that.
Yeah. And then the last one's the Knicks.
At home.
You better fucking win
We
this.
should win this game by a lot. As far as the schedule goes, we have many winnable games except for two. We have two tough games. The rest of the outside of Philly, we have two tough games the rest of the month, and that's the Lakers and the Rockets. Granted, there are some teams in there that we've already lost to this season, like the Kings and the Pelicans, but you still have to expect that we win these games.
And Pelicans is on Christmas. Everyone remember that.
I will
got a
be
Christmas
there.
game. We actually have a Christmas game for once. I don't know. I don't think they're doing Christmas jerseys anymore, which is kind of sad.
They're not.
It's really disappointing. But yeah, I know for the most of this month, this was going to be a hard month anyways because it was the first month we actually started doing pretty consistent back-to-backs. We have 3 back-to-backs this month. So that was going to be hard. Granted, I'll give them a little break. Not a huge break on this road trip, but I will say the game from the Knicks to the Celtics was kind of unfortunate because they had to deal with switching to East Coast time. That game ended very late for them. It's way different than when they would usually go to bed. They had to get on a flight right away and go to Boston. That's probably why some of them were sluggish. It's no excuse. They're NBA players. They should be used to it, but still, that was an unfortunate back-to-back for them to have to deal with that change in the time zones and then do it back-to-back. But they have to get used to that. That was their first back-to-back. We're starting to have more. We got to get used to these. So I think they will. So we both think they're going to go 3-1, basically protecting home court but losing to the Sixers. If we go anywhere other than 3-1, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, and frankly, if we win this game tomorrow and then we don't go 4-0, I'm going to be a little pissed too. We have no business losing to these frankly, they're non-playoff teams at home.
Technically, Oklahoma City is one right now.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, if we lose to Portland, that's the only one I can find a way to be okay with. I don't think we have any business losing to the other two.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see how we go. It was a very rough week, rant-filled episode. I believe in our boys. I think we will make it. I believe in our boys more. Phil, we still have a chance against the Lakers.
I mean,
just got to actually learn to play basketball again.
Let me just pretense by saying is that I have been conditioned to never ever sleep on LeBron James in the playoffs, and the person sitting across from
you
me
have
is
no
the
proof
one
of this.
who conditioned
There's
me
no proof
to do
of this. LeBron is coasting, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, we're gonna do our best, and we're gonna wish it to existence.
Point is, the Nuggets are still a good team. They still have a bright future. They just got to figure some stuff out and maybe play some guys who are going to be involved in said future. That's all I got.
I just think we all agree that we should see more of MPJ, and hopefully we do. I think Malone will figure it out, hopefully. And if not, if we start going on a losing streak, I would not be surprised if the players have a players-only meeting just to talk about the issues and everything like that. Because I believe this team's very good chemistry, and that's what championship teams do. They have player-only meetings.
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully we don't go on any bigger of a losing streak. There is a possibility for it because I would say, again, most likely we're going to lose to Philadelphia, but we'll see how it goes. But otherwise, that's everything for us this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Definitely feel free to like and subscribe to make sure you get notifications of our other episodes. Definitely feel free to tell a friend about the podcast. Leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts about this week. We definitely want to hear what you guys think about the rough week that we had and the week we have coming up. And then other than that, we'll talk to you guys next week.
Go Nuggets.